It was just a seat, a space on a bus in Montgomery, Alabama. But when Rosa Parks refused to give up that seat, she wasn't just tired from work. She was tired of being told she was less, tired of being expected to shrink, to disappear, to stay silent. That quiet act of defiance on December 1st, 1955, would ignite a movement and help reshape the conscience of a nation. Rosa Louise McCauley was born in 1913 in Tuskegee, Alabama. She grew up in the Deep South, where segregation wasn't just a practice, it was the law. White-only water fountains, separate schools, back of the bus seating. Rosa learned early what it meant to be told you were other. But she also learned to resist. Her grandfather, a strong influence in her life, would sit on the front porch with a shotgun when the Ku Klux Klan passed by. Fear was a daily presence, but so was quiet strength. Rosa married Raymond Parks, a barber and civil rights activist. Together, they became involved with the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Long before that famous bus ride, Rosa worked as a secretary for the Montgomery chapter. She investigated cases of racial violence, helped raise awareness, and advocated for Black citizens in a system designed to silence them. And then came the day that would change everything. Rosa had finished a long shift at her department store job. She boarded the Cleveland Avenue bus and took a seat in the colored section. As the bus filled up, the driver ordered her and 3 other Black passengers to give up their seats for white passengers. The others moved. Rosa did not. She simply said, no. She wasn't shouting. She wasn't violent. She just stayed in her seat. The driver called the police. Rosa was arrested and fined. And while many would have moved on, something about her quiet resistance caught fire. It wasn't the first time someone had refused to move. But Rosa Parks had a calm dignity, a reputation for honesty, and a network ready to act. The Montgomery Bus Boycott was born, led by a then 26-year-old pastor named Martin Luther King Jr. The boycott would last 381 days. Black residents, the majority of bus riders, refused to use the city buses. They organized carpools, walked miles to work, endured harassment, threats, and even violence. But they didn't give in. What began as one woman's decision became a community stand. The boycott drew national attention. Rosa Parks became the face of a movement, not because she sought fame, but because her story carried the weight of truth. The case reached the Supreme Court, which eventually ruled that bus segregation was unconstitutional. Victory had been won, not with fists, but with stubborn hope and nonviolent resistance. But Rosa's journey didn't end there. After the boycott, she and her husband faced threats and lost their jobs. They moved to Detroit, where Rosa continued to advocate for justice. She worked for Congressman John Conyers for over 2 decades, supporting civil rights legislation and helping constituents won. She remained active in grassroots causes, prison reform, voter registration, and education. Contrary to the image of her as a quiet seamstress who spontaneously resisted, Rosa Parks was deliberate. She had spent years preparing, studying, speaking, and standing up for others. That no was not a moment of impulse. It was the culmination of a life lived in quiet resistance. She received numerous honors, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the Congressional Gold Medal, and statues in her name. But perhaps her greatest legacy lives in every young person who learns that courage doesn't always look like shouting. Sometimes, it looks like sitting still and not moving, even when the world demands that you do. Rosa Parks wasn't trying to be a hero. She was trying to live with dignity, and in doing so, she reminded America that change doesn't always come from thunder. Sometimes it comes from stillness, from one person deciding that enough is enough. Her story is a reminder that we are all faced with choices, big and small, that define not just who we are, but who we become as a people. Rosa chose dignity. She chose resistance. She chose to stay seated, and in doing so, helped a nation rise.